Hello, you're free to one-way fight with me, Neill Smith. And we've got him back. It's Ashley King. He had a bad limp or something last week, so we give him the week off.
Broke my foot in 5 different places, everyone, but I'm still standing. So
what was I doing? Thigh pads?
Yeah, mate. Yeah. Someone, calf kicks, mate. Calf kicks. That's what I was doing.
Bullshit. But to be honest with you, it was a slow week otherwise. There was more stuff in the news about, random sort of fan forum talk, wasn't it? It was Jake Paul and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Touch on. I've done something on that anyway. And I saved this because we'll start with the Cowboy Cerrone fight, and then we'll go into Diego Sanchez and whatnot.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Cerrone, man, you go ahead, just fill us in.
Yeah, I'm gutted for him, to be honest. Like, I'm gutted it played out the way it did. So he was meant to fight Diego Sanchez, and I feel that would have been a good last fight for him, if I'm honest. I don't know if he would have retired if he would have got the win, to be fair. But it would have been, I think it would have kind of helped him in his mind to be like, you know what, I'm on a win. I broke the lot, like that losing streak. Maybe I can think about retiring. But I feel losing this fight, it's kind of made him more like, I can't retire on this note. I have to get one back. So, I mean, if we talk about the fight, by the way, that Marine, what's his name? Morono.
Yeah, Alex Morono.
Mate, he had a perfect performance. Like, he did exactly what he needed to do and should have done. Just be fast. Like, first round, just come out, be aggressive. Donald Cerrone said it himself. He was like, to beat me, you need to come at me the first round and, kind of catch me off guard. And that's exactly what he did. So he had a perfect performance, takes the fight on short notice, gets the big win, biggest of his career by far. And, he's going to set himself up now for something good. Whereas Cerrone, I'm a bit like, okay, you don't want it to be your last fight. Well, you need to stop fighting these young up-and-comers, these these fights that want to make a name off your back and everything. He needs to try and go for like a similar fighter who's on maybe the same track. So he can fight at lightweight and welterweight, can't he? So maybe if he fights like Hollis Condit or something like that, you know what I mean? It's just so you're not fighting these young guys.
I don't see him beating Condit.
No, but it's a good fight that he generally has a good chance with. You know what I mean? You put him in there against a young, hungry up and comer. I think he gets destroyed.
I think
I just think he passed it.
Sanchez was the perfect fight. It was one that was, Sanchez could have won, but it was perfect for them two at the stages of their career.
Yeah.
I did note though, I mean, where you said before, Cerrone said, he's going to have to come at me and bombard me in the first round to 2 rounds. He said that he was basically going to be sparring backstage, he said, to get the first round out of the way. So he was going to perform. And he even mentioned his head movement himself, and he didn't show any. And his
didn't show it
a lot. And I love Cowboy. I'm his biggest fan. I really am. He was, his record's 36-16, and there's quite a few losses there. But in his last 7 fights, 6 of them come from that.
Yeah, and I feel the conversation's different as well than what. So remember that time where he went on a big massive winning streak and everything like that, and then he fell short, didn't he? When he fought Rafael dos Anjos, he fought for the belt and he got finished quite early.
The second time that
and
was.
Then,
it was the second time.
But then
Anjos rushed him.
Second time. And then he went on and it was another kind of losing streak. I can't remember how many fights he lost, but there was a conversation where he was kind of on the way out, and then he fights Alexander Hernandez. Remember that one? So Alexander Hernandez was trying to get in his head when he was trying to all the shit talk and all that. And Cerrone managed to beat him, managed to TKO him, and then it was kind of like, oh, hang on a minute, he's still got it type thing. But I do feel like now it is the time where he is clearly at the end, and the skills are just not what they were, and the caliber of fighters that he's fighting, they're just too good now, too well rounded, and they kind of know Cerrone's game plan, they know his movements and everything like that. So I feel like now you're not gonna like he's not fighting to fight for the belt again or anything like that. I just think he just wants to retire on a win, on a good performance, and then get a win. So I think he needs to be quite smart now with his matchmaking. You know what I mean? And I said, like, trying to think of people who he can fight. The only person I could generally think of is like a Carlos Condit, who's kind of similar, kind of on the end now. Yeah, looked good in his last fight, but you know, Carlos Condit's not like a young, hungry up and comer, is he? He's a veteran, and that's what he needs to fight: big names and veterans.
Yeah, I feel like he's not at a point of his career where he can change his style now. I feel like it's teaching an old dog new tricks. And he had no answer for any of the strikes. Like he even mentioned his head movements and said himself, I have no head movements. And you think then that would have been something that you would have at least tried to employ. He was getting stuck. And then it was literally to stand there. And he won't switch that tie stance because he's looking for them power punches all the time. And his hands drop a little bit. And that was one thing you always loved about Cowboy, because he would get hit and give back, and it was always a dogfight. But I felt like at this point of his career, he needs to change that up. Otherwise, I don't think he should be fighting at the top level. You know, throw him in Bellator, give him some fighters, yeah. But who do you pick? Even the up-and-comers in the UFC now, who do you pick? Because, like you said, they keep giving him these fresh meat who just, you know, a lot of them are running through him now, and it's not fair to him, really.
No. And he said that, didn't he? Dana White. So this is what Cerrone said. He was like, Dana White obviously told him the news and said, we've got, you know, this guy here, you know, and it was that Morono. And Cerrone was like, I'll think about the type thing. And Dana White was like, you know what? You've always kind of took fights on short notice and everything like that. You've always helped us out. So this is your decision. You know, there's no pressure. If you don't want to fight him and you want to wait for, you know, someone else, or you want to wait for a full training camp specific to that person, then that's fine. Like you've earned that thing. And then Cerrone was like, you know what? No, I'll just take it. And it's proved to go against him. So I feel like Cerrone, you know, I don't even know if he's going to have another fight, by the way. I don't know if Dana White's like, no, we're not going to see him again.
Well, that's,
you know,
that's a six-fight losing streak. That's a 6-fight losing streak. It's too much. I mean, granted,
so don't know.
You've got Tony Ferguson, Justin Gaethje, McGregor, Pettis, and then you got Nico Price was a non-contest. Sorry, and then that Morono. I mean, if they were all of that upper echelon, which the majority are, I mean, there's 4 of them there, upper echelon. The Nico Price and Morono. Now it's starting to decline in competition, and he's still getting losses on non-contests. I feel like it's not fair, and a lot of them are TKO type sort of punishment, or you know, and where they're saying about Diego Sanchez potentially having CTE. I mean, then as soon as you're going into that many losses with that type of stoppage, you've got to start thinking of the health, because they don't have a health package put together for them when they leave the UFC. So you've got to start thinking about, well, if that's not in place for them, you've got to stop them before it becomes too much.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know in regards to when they finish, so when they leave the UFC, I don't know what kind of things they have in store for them. Because it's a bit, I think it's kind of specific to the fighter. So if you're a guy like Chuck Liddell or like Forrest Griffin, you're like a legend, aren't you? You'll get all the treatments in the world. And I know we're going to go on to this next, by the way. But
the problem that seems to come out of it is it's insurance that you take out yourself. And the insurance companies tend to just sort of say, well, you're fighting high caliber fighters. It's a big risk. We'll take it out, but it's a lot of money. And the purses that they get don't necessarily make financial sense for them to take it out. I think that's what the main argument is. And correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but that's my understanding of the situation. We're not going to put the insurance on for you. You cover that yourself. That's your own health insurance. And then it gets to the point where it's self-inflicted injuries because of your job type of thing, isn't it? So I don't know if there's a conflict there, because I know the States are a lot different from over here, but...
Yeah. I don't know. Obviously, it must depend on organisation as well. But I probably would say it's fighter based. I mean, if you're a legend in the sport, you're gonna get the best treatment. You are gonna get looked after, even financially wise as well. But yeah, if you're just the guy who's
in the States, though,
you're not a legend type thing, then
in the States, though, if you go and have a baby in hospital, you get sent a bill. You know.
Yeah, I know. There's no free healthcare.
Works.
Well, sorry, unless you do have insurance, you can get. So how in businesses in the UK you get it's called Medicash.
Yeah.
So you get money back, like glasses and stuff like that. There'll be stuff like that within businesses, but when it comes to MMA, yeah, I mean, I can't imagine it to be fair, but I honestly have no idea when it comes to that, to be honest.
Well, maybe
I can imagine a guy like Cerrone.
I think there's too many unknowns with us two being British. Maybe we should do that conversation another day because we kind of offshooted there, didn't we? So
we don't work for the UFC, do we? So we're not gonna know.
No.
Unless we get Dana White on, we'll ask him, mate.
Yeah, working at one way fighting doesn't really big up your CV, does it? Couple hundred subscribers, that's it. Now go.
Yeah, literally.
But the more interesting point for me, and can you clarify something for me? So Diego Sanchez has his nunchuck warrior, kung fu master, Joshua Faber, who is his guru. A lot of people are saying they're gay lovers, are they? Or is that just something people say because it's a bit weird?
I'm just going to say yeah. I'm going to say yeah for the views, mate. 100% they are, mate. Absolutely. This guy for me, like, so I'll be honest, like, the first I heard of him was that it was that Michael Pereira fight, where it was a DQ loss or something like that.
Doing all that business.
And it was, yeah. And it was like, and it was like that Joshua guy saying, give him Tyson. I thought it was funny, to be fair, like I did. And then fast forward to that. I think the first thing I seen was the released phone call with there's a guy called Hunter who's the legal representative of the UFC, and the other guy, is it Sean Shelby? I think it's Sean Shelby.
Sean Shelby, yeah.
Did you listen to that? Have you listened
to that? Is that where Felder and that's there, and he just comes in on Diego's behalf and just berates everyone you're talking about? Or is that separate?
No. So this is a separate one. So this is an actual phone call. So this is like again time frame wise. I think the phone call was first, then it was the meeting, but the phone call was weird. Listen, it was like he called up Sean Shelby and all that, because I think he's been saying a lot of stuff in the media and all that. Well, that was it. He requested medical records of Diego Sanchez. And they came out and they were like, "Why do you want all this?" And they had Hunter there again, who's like the legal guy in all this. And it was like, well, Diego Sanchez is at the end of his career. This is going to be his last fight with Cerrone. So this is before he got cancelled, by the way. This is before he got cancelled. And he's like, yeah, this is his last fight. So I want to make sure that he's all set. I need to know kind of all the background in regards to his medical history, so I know what treatment he needs when he finishes his career. And we need to make sure that, mental wise he's okay and everything like that. But I think the UFC took it as kind of, well, is he already experiencing, head traumas or anything like that? And it was kind of a bit of a stalemate where he was kind of like, well, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that I don't understand why I can't ask these medical records. And it was kind of, what I got from that was the UFC were trying to protect themselves by saying, well, if you're saying to me that he's suffering from head trauma, like, we're pulling this fight, that's it, and we're going to let Diego go and everything like that. So I feel like Joshua kind of put his foot in his mouth, in my opinion. So that was the first one, and that sent warning bells.
Just a quick point about that is, I mean, we've worked in the legal sector. Any medical records have to be given written request from the person themselves, not their coach, no one else. And I'm 100% data protection will work the same in the United States as it will over here. And the fact of the matter is, he's fishing to go sue for CTE or something like that, that they've seen something that's not there. I mean, he's he's just come into the picture, and he's just fishing now to see where money can be made.
Yeah, so what you said there is actually a very good point when you're on about the lawsuit, because this is what the UFC were picking up, and I don't feel like that Josh guy was actually understanding why they were being kind of, I wouldn't say hostile, but why they were being kind of like, you know, if you don't sign it. So that was another thing. Sorry, they were trying to make Diego sign a document to say, I'm not suffering from any type of head trauma. I'm completely fine, you know, and I'm good to go. They needed him to agree to that, and that was to cover the UFC by saying, we made sure that, you know, he was suffering from no kind of blackouts, any type of like head trauma or anything like that. And I don't think Diego was agreeing to it. So you've got that there, which I think would have made the UFC kind of like, no, we don't like this. And then fast forward then to that famous interview where Diego Sanchez, he just finishes, doesn't he, with an interview with Paul Felder, Megan Olivievra, and just like the other UFC guys. And then Joshua just comes out of nowhere, doesn't he? And he's just like, you know, let's just like cut the bullshit, like, you know, like, and he's on about the narrative and everything like that.
Embarrassing.
And, Paul Felder just shoots him down, doesn't he? Saying, I literally don't know what you're on about. And it gets a bit awkward, doesn't it? Gets a bit awkward, I think.
You know what? If there is a narrative out there, he's fronting Paul Felder, and I think was Angela Hill there and stuff like that as well. I think she, not on camera, but I think she stepped in and just, because it was like a group meeting, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Because she did an interview after saying it was the first time she'd been at one of these group interviews because she'd only been so high up the card before. And she said she felt like she had to jump in and say, no one's saying nothing. What's your problem like? And she said she felt awkward because she loves Diego, but I think one of the journalists had took information from her afterwards as well, and she'd fed them information and she felt bad about it. But it's no one else's fault other than Diego for bringing this guy in and not seeing him for what he is, and this Joshua Faber for getting involved in things that, even if there is a narrative, address the media at a different point. Don't go point your finger at like Paul Felder, and just he seems like a very old gentleman.
Yeah, and from that, he didn't look good at all though, because it was like he was trying for respect for himself, but he came out with even less respect, do you know what I mean, than what he already had, because he was just pissing people off. What he was saying wasn't really making sense. He wasn't really going to his point. It was almost kind of like he was complaining about the commentary, but they can't control the commentary. So, you know, if you were pissed off about Beniel Dariush or Joe Rogan, who were giving the commentary, you'll have to speak to them. You know what I mean? The UFC analysts, they can't control the commentary. You can say what you want. And what they were saying
perfect example is, I mean, since we've started doing this, I mean, people pick up on me. I mean, main thing they say is stop swearing, which I'm trying. I do apologise, people. But people say,
"You haven't swore one."
Oh, I don't like what you've said there. Or majority of people say they do like what we've said, but every now and then you don't like what you said. And I've always just worked off the basis, and this is what they must do as commentators. You've got to say how you see it. Otherwise, you're just repeating what everybody else says. You've got to say what you see. And it's, if you see something as a commentator and you don't call it as you see it, then what are you doing there? And you can't then get angry that a commentator said it as they saw it. Fair enough, they might get it wrong sometimes. You can point out that they get it wrong, but you can't start complaining, saying you've got to do this, you've got to do that, because that's not impartial insight then. That's someone else's opinion being forced on you, and then you regurgitate it. And I think that's what I disliked about the whole thing. He was trying to get them all on side, rather than just saying, look, that's bullshit, that specific point. It didn't go down well in my... It felt very uneasy and very cringy.
Yeah, because you can tell Diego was just standing there like, I just want to go now, like, this is just awkward. You had Stephan Bonner there as well, which I thought was a bit like... Have you seen Stephan Bonner there?
Yeah, but have you seen the other thing where Diego just does his own personal video, crying and that? Well, I don't know if he's properly crying.
No.
But he's going, you might see me. This is shortly after that. And the whole shebang's gone on. And he's going, the UFC will bump me off and I'll be found suicided or hit by a car. Or, I can't remember his exact words.
Oh.
And he's just going,
Yeah.
it's not fair, man. They treat me like shit. I've given them the best years of my life. And, you know, this is how they repay me. And it's like, well, I kind of see what you're saying, but this is really odd the way you're doing it. Make an official statement, I think put it out in words. Don't sit there half in tears with no top on, looking at the camera. Really, it really cuts a shade of crazy.
I haven't, you know what? I thought I knew what you was on about then, but then I don't remember seeing that video. But did you see the post that he did about he's scared that the UFC are gonna try and kill him? Did you see that?
Well, that's off the back of the video. So he does a video.
Yeah? Oh.
So he does a video where he's sitting there talking, saying it, and he sort of sat like this, looking at the camera. Well, and it's like it's a bit weird.
I don't know. He is funny, and he's weird. Like, and he's clearly got a lot of mental health issues. Like, but I mean,
from the Ultimate Fighter season 1, has he ever shown any difference from that?
No, he was weird there as well.
Yeah, so
and he was quite into the whole like that whole thing that he does to Josh, the whole health, like body health. I don't actually like, you know, health guru type thing. But that's what that Josh guy is, isn't he? He's just a health guru, isn't he?
So, right. So I'm sorry about this, Ashley. I was looking before. I wanted to share it so we could both react to it now on this screen, but my Zoom skills are there. So for next week, I'll have learned how to do this and whatever we want, because I want to start just putting the videos on so we can watch them as we're talking and just cut the volume down on them. And, you know, it would have been perfect to do it for this, but the punch bag video of and then he starts throwing a few, and then he slaps his head, then he throws a few kicks on a 1-2 kick, and then he throws the odd slide knee. And this is Joshua Faber. If you haven't seen it, I'll put the link in. A hung upside down Diego Sanchez just covering his head, and he's just punching his big bald slap head. Yeah, and they're not huge punches, but they're enough to contribute to any damage that he's going on about.
Yeah. I seen the video and I was like, I didn't even know how to react, to be honest. I was just like, is this a joke? I thought it was a joke at first, but then I realised how serious kind of they both are, and I was like, nah, this isn't a joke. They don't have that kind of capacity to even make that into a joke, if that makes sense. I was like, they're actually being serious.
Have you seen the full 4-minute video?
I just watched it up until, so he starts off, doesn't he?
There's one where they're stretching him out upside down, and it's got this weird jazz music that they've put out. I don't know if someone's done that on the one I've watched. I watched one where it was like 2 minutes and it was just the punch bag bit, and then I watched this other one. So I don't know if they put out the one with jazz music or if that's just what I've seen on YouTube. But it made it very sexy. Not the type of sexy I like, but
but thing is, I mean, this is just, I don't understand what is going through this guy's mind. Like, clearly there's no benefit from doing that. You know, you're getting called out by all these people, all these coaches and everything like that. It's like you've essentially ruined the end part of Diego's career. Now he didn't have his chance. He didn't have that last fight against Cerrone, and that's all because of his coach, that Joshua. It's all because of him. I think Bellator, that Scott Coker from Bellator got asked. He was like, Diego Sanchez obviously just been released. Would you be interested in signing him? And he was like, no. Too much baggage with this Josh guy. It's just not. You know, people don't want to work with him. People don't want to work with him. Doesn't have that respect. And when,
go on, sorry. No, that's right.
Did you watch that? I don't know the guy's name, but he's a reporter. I think his name is John something. He's got his own podcast. What? Sorry,
John Anik.
No, not John Anik. No. He's not a UFC commentator. He's a reporter, like Ariel Hawani. But he's one of the most popular ones now out there. He's got his own podcast, and he had Diego Sanchez and that Joshua guy on his podcast. And this John guy is quite big in the media. Like, he's like the new Ariel Hawani, in my opinion. You know, in any press conference, he's the first guy with the question.
Anyone can get a podcast.
So anyone, mate.
Anyone.
But this guy kind of, but this guy's kind of like he's a serious reporter type thing. He's a guy who people respect and everything. So he had Diego and Joshua on, and I can tell he was trying to give this Joshua a kind of, give him time, let him speak, give him the chance to actually clear up the air, kind of clear his name a little bit. But that Joshua guy just destroyed it. Just literally hung himself with the rope. Just looked stupid. Didn't say anything that made sense. Made him look even worse. He was just a laughingstock.
That's,
do you know what I mean? And then he put the video up, and I'm like, "What are you doing?"
That's the perfect sort of thing to do in that position, though, isn't it? You either give him a platform to clear his name or enough rope to hang himself with, and you kind of sort of, if he clears his name, that's fine. People will watch just to see what he has to say. If he hangs himself, then that's great.
And that's what he did.
But the one thing that strikes me about this, the whole thing where they want the medical records and there's a potential, any lawsuit that you brought for CTE, that video that they bring out after they're complaining that they're worried about the CTE and stuff. Training, look at that training. You're punching him, closed fist, no protection on the fist, no gloves or nothing, and you're just thumping him in the head, slapping his head, kicking him bare shin. No, you need him at one point. I know he's covering his face, but that's that in itself is a lawsuit.
It's still impact. And did you see the video of in like one of the training sessions that Joshua guy, he had like a knife. I don't know if he actually had a real knife, but I don't know, I couldn't see it. But he was chasing them all around with this, I don't know if it was a real knife or it was like a pretend knife and it was part of the session. But you literally just have to get away from the knife.
They use rubber knives in training.
Yeah, but I think the training session was to get away from the knife. That was the training session. And you see all of them just jumping around ooh.
Okay.
What is it?
Just to finish this little part of the podcast off, you come along, you don't know me, I'm some guru you've heard about, you come into me gym, first thing I do is go, look, I've heard you're good, Ashley. I take my top off, put some jazz on, I go, take your top off, get upside down on the bar, I'm going to welly you for an hour. Do you do it?
I'll tell you what, Neil, mate, because you're very persuasive, 100% I would, mate. I will take my top off, mate. I'll grease myself up and I'll do it. But that's just how that's better to you, mate, for how persuasive you are.
He did look greased up. It looked really weird.
He did, didn't he?
And he had a freshly shaven head, proper cutthroat. It just looked really sort of like Eurotrash Channel 5 back in the day where they used to have European Blue review on. It just looked odd. Yeah, but
it's not a good look, is it? Not a good look.
Whatever strokes for whatever folks, mate. If that's what they're into, let them go for it. So I think we've covered all that. I mean, we don't think he's going anywhere anytime soon. I don't even think he might end up at 1 or something like that.
Yeah. Well, the UFC have released him, haven't they? Bellator at the minute don't want to sign him. So maybe like 1 UFC or something like that. Or what's the other one? PFL.
Yeah, PFL.
Where, Anthony Joshua. Who's PFL? Anthony Pettis.
It's one of them things, though. I think that's quite sort of professional. I don't think that's going to want to attract it. Has that not got links with the UFC, though, PFL?
I think the majority do have links in regards to the Fight Pass, subscriptions. Like Cage Warriors, that has a link to the UFC in regards to Fight Pass, so probably. But at the end of the day, if you're the promoter, you're just thinking Diego Sanchez, big name, fuck it, have him on.
Be surprised if one of the Paul brothers got him out.
Yeah. Mate, Jake Paul. Fucking hell. I think you already spoke about him, haven't you, actually, last week?
Yeah, and to be honest with you, it's getting old that now. It's just one of them things. Every time I turn on my phone, there's something else.
Yeah.
You know,
Can I just say one little thing, though?
Yeah, go on.
Just with the Jake Paul. So, because I was thinking, this is just very quick, by the way. You know Mayweather's reaction? So, the whole he grabbed his hat and everything, and Mayweather was visibly just angry, wasn't he? He proper lost it. And I've never seen Mayweather lose it like that, to be fair. And I was thinking, why though? But I think it's the whole the whole respect thing. I don't think he generally sees Jake Paul as just a little YouTuber, and then taking the hat off him, I generally feel he generally felt disrespectful. So me thinking that's why, because there's a video of obviously Conor McGregor slapping his head and everything like that, and he was fine with it. But obviously, it's like a respect thing that I feel. But I just wanted to get your thoughts on that. To be fair, like, what do you think? Why Mayweather was so wild?
You know what? It's like a school bully, isn't it? Though, and it's kind of like it's hard to put into words with Jake Paul. It's like this person who shouldn't be there, giving you, like they're bullying you in public. And I think with boxers, you tend to see it. I mean, I know you say McGregor patting his head and that, but I think that was a back and forth. They were both doing it with the $100 bill and all that. I just feel like it's like being back in the schoolyard. Jake Paul's got this innate ability to do really childish stuff and get adults to react to it. Like Dylan Dennis getting burgers thrown at him as they drive by. It's like stuff you do in college, like what a fight type shit. And he has this ability to draw that out of adults, to lower them to his level. And fair play to the kid. I mean, I've said a lot of stuff, and you know, it sounds like I'm sort of ragging on him. I'm really not. I think he's great at what he does. I just don't always want to have to see it on me. I don't mind watching it on my phone. I find it quite entertaining on my phone. But when I see it at the UFC and people like Daniel Cormier getting dragged into it and that, it's a bit pantomime. That's my only beef. Yeah. One thing I did say, though, and I'd had a few beers, I called him a bitch. I was watching it back. Logan Paul did not look like he should have been in that circumstance. Because while Jake got hit and stuff like that, he looked like he was just being held by someone. And he was like, what's going on? Where are they? You know, while his brother's in the middle of a scrap, he's the one meant to be fighting. I just thought, what are you doing?
Yeah, I'll be honest, I do actually really like Logan Paul, to be honest. I actually think that I've always liked him, to be fair. I think he's quite sound. Just dead chill that he watch him in interviews and that. When he fought KSI and all that. Yeah, I like him, mate.
I like him. Sorry, this is why I say I called him a bitch. I didn't mean a bitch like, well, no, it did. He looked like he was acting like a bitch. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean, yeah. He didn't really get...
To me, if that was my brother, I'd have been, come on, then let's get in there and just go try and front everybody and all that. But to be stood there and protected and all that, when I say bitch, I mean in that situation, I felt like he should have got involved. It's his fight. You know what I mean?
I don't think... I and that's your stance. I personally kind of feel like did the right thing. Don't get involved. You don't need to. It's kind of... it's like it was Jake Paul's own situation. He caused it. Kind of let him deal with it. And for him, the fight's already made. You don't really need to promote it anymore. And I think obviously in his case, he doesn't want to get into any kind of, you know, fight or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, personally, if it was me, I'd never go in and start it. But if it's going off, I feel like you've got to put it on them in order for them to understand that you're not there for anything other than, because it's all for money, obviously. But people treat them like a joke, like it's they're here for the money and the fame and whatever. I'd want to be proven that I'm there for something else. So I'd want to put it on them and show them, no, I'm here to show up. But at the same time, you know, like you say, maybe he wants to be seen as professional. And maybe it's not so much that he's being a bitch. He just doesn't want to be seen as the annoying brothers, which is another perspective.
Well, another thing as well, though, another perspective is maybe he generally doesn't really, it wasn't actually that kind of, like, it wasn't angry at Mayweather because, you know, maybe he thinks quite logically and he's like, it's not my situation, it's a brother situation, you know, be on him. I'm not getting involved. He shouldn't have done it. It's stupid. Like, for his perspective, he could be like, I'm not even annoyed at Mayweather. I'm actually annoyed at my own brother because he just pulled that stunt. You know what I mean?
Stole the limelight. Stole his brother's limelight. Yeah. Terrible. I mean, for me, I just felt like you can't even sit down for 5 seconds and just let your brother shine. You know, you just had that whole big thing. You've had the thing at the whole big fight with Ben Askren. You won. Let your brother have his minute. That I felt like, and Logan Paul did say it was over a hat, but a presser, weigh-in, stare off. It's all about imposing yourself on the other person. And I appreciate what you're saying. And it may be that he doesn't want to come across as the annoying brother type, you know, both of them are annoying. So he's just sort of left it. But personally, I think in a fight, you've got to show you're not scared. And irrelevant of whether you're going to become annoying or whatever, you've got to be in there. Don't care what anyone else thinks. If there's a skirmish of some sort, get involved, because all people are going to see is fear. And that's what I felt like when that was my first reaction. I mean, it may change if I hear him talk about it, but that was my first reaction. It was afraid to get involved.
I get your point of view. I mean, I personally don't see it like that, to be fair. Like, you know, you're saying that you have to kind of almost like be aggressive, like I don't know, because there's so many fighters that get kind of a good rep because they just don't react. It's like, who's that fighter? What's his name? The fight got pulled because he went up and he pushed the guy and it broke.
I spoke about this the other day with James Brady.
Jeremy Stevens and Drakkar Close. It's like that. I say that's a good example. Just literally pointless. And Drakkar Close, in my opinion, did the right thing. Don't respond. You know what I mean? Like, he's the one that looks like an knobhead, not you. It's like they're gonna. I think my thing is they're gonna fight anyway. You know what I mean? Fight and get paid for it. Don't fight just for the fans, for the people. If it was me, I wouldn't. I just don't have that mindset. I just wouldn't care. Fighting this guy. Here's the date. I'm gonna get paid for it. That's it. But I think it's about perspective and how, you know, you see it differently. That's how you would react. But then I see it like that. Specifically
in that situation, though, I mean, I was surprised at the size difference yet again. I mean,
with
Mayweather's not going to put weight on to match him, and he's not going to lose weight to meet Mayweather. So they're obviously just doing it. Forget the weight class.
Yeah, see,
Mayweather's not going to get fat.
See the difference.
Me,
yeah,
he's like half a foot taller and about half a foot wider in shoulder width, and his arms are. I mean, when is it? It's in June, is it?
Yeah, I think so.
So he's got 8 weeks to lose all that weight, or 8 weeks for Mayweather to put weight on. It's not happening. They're just going to go in and fight at whatever weight.
But how can I just say that? How funny would it be, mate, if honestly Mayweather got caught and imagine the first guy to beat him was Logan Paul. I think it'll be amazing.
I mean, don't get me wrong, you can't touch Mayweather, and he's going to be swinging for the hills. You'll be lucky to hit him once. And the referee is going to be, every time they get close, split, you're clinching 100%. But they're going to have to engage at some point.
I'll be honest with you, mate. I hope Logan Paul wins, just for the shock factor. Like, just imagine it, though. Like, Mayweather, his first ever loss is against the YouTuber. I'd love it, mate. I mean, yeah, that's what I'm rooting for.
Mayweather's just his whole routine of just being able to be not hit by boxers at his weight. If he can't see the punches coming from Logan Paul, a much slower, much bigger target. I mean, he's trained to watch the shoulders, so he knows. On a lightweight or featherweight or whatever, a low weight class, you can see quicker shoulders coming. You can see Logan Paul's. I just feel like, though, if he just sort of Rocky grabs him at one point and just tries to just woof, you know, what was it, even Drago?
Yeah,
Rocky forward, he just grabs him into the ropes and just. But McGregor tried that, and you know, McGregor was physically bigger.
Yeah, no, I'll be honest. Like, I'm not saying. I mean, clearly Mayweather. I mean, obviously, but I want Logan Paul to do it, mate. I just think, imagine the shock factor. Everyone watching it, just like proper jaw wide open, like, oh my god. I want that. I want the shock factor. Plus, it'd be funny as well.
It's a worry, though, you know, because what's going to happen is this is going to become the new thing. If he beat Mayweather, than anybody who is anybody who won one of these random fights. I mean, he hasn't even won a fight. He's lost and drew to KSI.
Yeah.
So it's like me just deciding,
It's amazing.
you know what? I've got Friday off. I'm just going to call Mayweather a pussy, or tell Canelo he can't box for shit, and then just see what happens. And that's a crazy,
I think it's funny, you know.
Crazy thing. Like, I just think it's ridiculous. But at the same time, it's entertainment, isn't it? So what do I know?
Yeah.
So go on. Let's get on to UFC 261 or 2, is it?
262, I think. 262.
Yeah. So Leon Edwards and Nate Diaz is no longer happening. Charles Oliveira and Mike Chandler. I think it's going to be an interesting fight. Yeah,
I honestly, I've been thinking about this. Like, obviously, knew we were going to do the podcast and all that. And I keep going back and forth. I generally like. So I love Charles Oliveira. Like, he's one of my favorite in the division, to be honest. So like, I want him to win. I want Charles Oliveira to win. But then when you break down the fight and you kind of think, okay, that's who you want to win, but what do you think will happen? I don't know. I could see it going so many ways that, like, I can't even make a decision. Like, Charles Oliveira is just so well-rounded, isn't he? But then Michael Chandler, he's just so he's so explosive, and we've seen what he did with what is his name? Who did he beat in his last fight? Lanky guy.
Fucking hell, mate.
His name is
just had it.
It'll come to me.
I just watched it earlier today.
Yeah, no, but mate, his name just it's fucking on blank here.
Mate, he fought fuck it, I'm just putting it in now.
Yeah.
Beat him, TKO'd him, didn't he?
Yeah, first round finish. And he was good, mate. Like, this guy who we, for some reason, cannot remember his name. Like, he went 5 rounds with Dustin Poirier, you know. Fuck, what is his name?
I'll have to do some editing here, lad.
I know. We look like fucking amateurs here, mate. Mate, his name, though, like, my mind's gone blank. I know his name, but I can't think because I'm panicking, mate.
He's on the card. He's on the fucking card.
I know. He's not fighting, is he?
Oh, no, Dan Hooker.
Dan Hooker. Fucking hell. Dan Hooker, mate. Sorry, right. Yeah.
I was like,
let's go back. What, sorry?
I was thinking of Hermanson, he's middleweight. No, I wasn't thinking Hermanson fought him. I was thinking Hermanson's on the card. I was thinking that was Dan Hooker.
Oh, sorry.
I don't know why it escaped me.
Yeah, honestly, couldn't.
To be fair, Dan Hooker's record, and that's quite good. I felt like it was a good fight for Chandler.
As in style-wise, like an easy matchup?
Not an easy matchup. I just felt like style-wise, I thought they were going to stand in that. And, I just felt like he was going to do him. I felt like it was a good first fight because he was a good pedigree, but I didn't think it was something. I haven't seen Mike Chandler in the past. I felt like he was just really dominant when he goes at it. He's got a few losses, but I do feel like Carlos Oliveira's sort of his recent run of form is better and maybe a little bit better pedigree because he beat Tony Ferguson his last fight.
Dominated him, mate. Like his win streak, mate. He's got finishes in each of them fights apart from Tony Ferguson. But the fight with Tony Ferguson, mate, he absolutely dominated. Like Charles Oliveira, mate, he's got all the momentum. But then so's Michael Chandler as well. Mike Chandler, he's obviously, on a win streak in Bellator, was the Bellator champ. And then with that pressure, I think, of going in to fight Dan Hooker in, a big event, you had the crowd there as well. You had the crowd there and everything like that. It was the Dustin and McGregor fight card. So big fight card, they were the co-main. And he didn't, the pressure or anything didn't get to him. Didn't get to him at all, mate. Like, you're so used to that.
Didn't they do the three dads in the press conference, and it was all nicey nice, wasn't it? And they were all going on about how they all had kids. It was like the last thing I wanted to hear about at the press conference. Leave your fucking kids at home. You know, it was a bit. But I know what you're saying. I feel the Oliveira is going to take it. I mean, he's still a dangerous fighter, Mike Chandler, for him. I feel like he wrestles a lot, and he's going to give a lot of limbs to Oliveira. And I think has he beat everybody by sub over his last, like, he's beat like 10 of his last, like, 12 by submission.
Sorry.
Oliveira.
This Charles Oliveira.
Yeah.
This Charles Oliveira.
Yeah.
He's KO'd. So he's got. So I think he's got the most submissions in his division.
I was watching like a highlight.
He's KO'ing people. What? Sorry.
I was watching a highlight of his last like 10 subs, and it's just unbelievable. Like, it made me scared to go back to do jiu-jitsu. Like, I was just like, God, is that what they're like now? It's been a while.
So good. Like, when he fought Kevin Lee, I mean, the guillotine he landed, but before the guillotine, on the feet, mate, his striking's good. Like, he's not just a jiu-jitsu guy anymore. Like, that's not him. Like, he's an all-rounder, mate. Do you know what I mean?
I wouldn't like him to stand with Chandler, though. I wouldn't like him to stand with Chandler, though.
So this is my point. I feel like, and this is why I go back and forth. I feel Charles Oliveira, in my opinion, needs to use the reach, but I don't know. Maybe to be fair, maybe to Michael Chandler, maybe to Charles Oliveira, get in the clinch, maybe clinch with him, and then because then he can go with his wrestling or his clinch work, which is really good, to be fair. And for Michael Chandler, I'll probably say, keep it at distance, and then just try and be explosive. Use his kickboxing, but he's got the wrestling there as well. See how I keep going back and forth, mate. Like, I've got an answer for both sides, and I'm like, I honestly don't know.
Yeah, I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna say it's gonna be like late rounds, like third, fourth. I reckon Oliveira's gonna take it. I think he's gonna tire him out. I think he's gonna get him up in a couple of scrambles and stuff like that. Take his back or something. I feel like he's just that good at the minute.
Yeah,
I think he's on like a 7-fight win streak or something, isn't he? Or is it more?
Yeah, no, I'm not too sure how long his win streak is, mate. But like, he's beat some good guys, and it's not even the fact that he just beat. Like, we're not on about split decisions. We're on about domination. Like, he's dominated. So like, I hope he does, mate. Like I said, I generally can't give a pick because I keep going back and forth. But I really want Charles Oliveira. Like, really want him to do it, mate. I just think. How much of a good comeback would it be for him? Like, years ago, I don't know if you'll know this, but like, he was known as a bit of a like, he used to kind of quit and fight, didn't he, and stuff. He used to kind of just I'd almost kind of say kind of give up type thing, but that was years ago, and like, he's just a different fighter. And I don't know if it was changing the weight divisions, because he used to fight at featherweight, didn't he? He used to fight at featherweight, and then.
You might have been gassing out.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, mate. And I feel like now he's found that perfect division, lightweight division, and he's shown that how elite he is. Do you know what I mean? Like, I can't think of a fight in the lightweight division that you wouldn't be like, that you wouldn't give him a chance in. Even Khabib, mate, even if you fought Khabib, there would still be a narrative of, but if it goes to the ground, I mean, we don't know what could happen. You know what I mean? Like, whereas anyone else, you're thinking that could be domination, takedown domination. But with Charles Oliveira, there's a bit of a thing there, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? That's how good he is.
He's hit 31 now as well, and I feel like that's sort of the age where they've got enough maturity, and they've just the skill level. Everything just seems to hit around about that age, and I just feel like it's probably his time now. I think he's going to take it. I really do.
That's a good shout. Yeah.
But
fingers crossed, mate. Fingers crossed.
Yeah. And then you've got, I guess this is the co-main now, Beniel Dariush and Ferguson.
Yeah.
Tony Ferguson.
Mate, Beniel Dariush, mate, I literally love him, like, he's just boss. Like, he, because, so there was a point where I didn't really like him. I thought he was a bit
boring.
I thought he was a little bit boring. And it was when he fought Edson Barboza. He got knocked out in the fight, but watching that fight, I was like, he's just doing the same setup. And I was getting a bit annoyed with Edson Barboza because I'm just a bit like, I don't know, like, how are you not onto it yet? And then he did. He caught him, didn't he? Because the Beniel Dariush is basically jab and take down. And then you watch it on YouTube, throws the jab, and then goes in for the takedown. And then Edson Barboza times it perfectly with the knee. And yeah, like that was the point that I was like so happy that he got beat. And then something changed, mate. I think the point where he got finished by Alexander Hernandez, short notice, remember? And this Alexander Hernandez was making his UFC debut, got knocked out. And I felt a bit sorry on him, to be fair. I was a bit like, feel kind of shit on him, to be honest. And then, mate, he has not lost the fight since that fight, mate. And he's fighting differently as well. Trains at King's MMA, and he's been ruthless, mate, with his Muay Thai and everything. Like, he looks good.
With the spinning back fist?
It was. Not
that was nice.
Yeah, what is his name?
I can't picture it now.
I can't think. Otherwise, we got, yeah, I don't know.
I think we've been on the Isle or something on the weekend. Our memory's gone. But I remember that was pretty tasty. Like, now, I do think, though, Tony Ferguson, I mean, he must have been on about 10-12 fight win streak. And then, I've wrote it down here. 12 fight win streak. And then lost to Gaethje and then Oliveira. And I think, people have said stuff about Tony Ferguson following them 2 fights, and I'm sorry, but they were 2 hard fights.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he's still in it, and I don't think Beniel Dariush beats him.
Really? What do you think? Like, what are your thoughts? What do you think's gonna happen?
I just feel like Tony's gonna go in just renewed. I just feel like he's got to. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't feel like he's going to come out with any different game plan because he never really has one. He always goes in and throws mad shit. But I just feel like he's at the point now, if he goes on 3 losses and at his age, he could just be like, you're not getting a title run now. I feel like he's got to go in there and he's got to put the performance in. And with some fighters saying, you've got an ultimatum type sort of situation, they don't always go out and perform. And Tony Ferguson is one of them guys up there. He's a little bit crazy. I feel like that to him will be like, he won't be accepting three fights in a row loss. I feel like he'll be in there. I don't feel like it's affected him mentally having the 2 losses because he's lost before in the past. But I just think he's going to go in and I think he's going to be throwing. I don't know how he's going to finish him. I mean, the other week, did you see this? I called Giga Chikadze liver shot in the first, called it.
Against Cub Swanson.
Yeah, I called it. But the point I was making is, on some people, I will call how they're going to finish it. But with Tony Ferguson, he's got ground game. He's got them crazy spinning elbows, the kicks, knees, everything, mate. He can just hit you with a straight. He's just got so much there. And I feel like what you said with Edson Barboza, with Beniel Dariush, I feel like it's not so much that Tony Ferguson might be setting them up with, I'm going to shoot and then come up with a knee or something random like that. I just feel like he's just that random that he's just going to mix it up and just go in there and just... I feel like he might knock him out.
Yeah. So I think my thoughts on it is with Tony Ferguson, the pressure was on, mate. I mean, 2-fight losing streak. If he loses this, I think generally you can kind of say goodbye to his title dreams. I mean, I don't really see him. If he loses this fight, I don't really see a way back in the title picture. At least not for some time, mate. I mean, he is getting on a bit like... So this fight is massively important to him. In regards to how he will deal with the pressure, I actually agree with you in regards to his mental state. I don't really think the pressure will get to him at all, to be honest. But if we look at kind of like how they've been fighting recently, I mean, Beniel Dariush, mate, he's been fighting crazy. He generally hasn't been fighting that technical as what he used to do back in the day. So I don't know if he keeps up with this approach and if he generally just wants to fight fire with fire. Because if he do that against Tony Ferguson, mate, that as well. He loves chaos. He loves scrambles and everything. So I feel like if he does that, he is kind of playing into Tony Ferguson's game. So I am interested to see how they both approach it. I'd say if I have to give my prediction on it, I mean, I think I'm gonna. I don't know. I like both. To be fair, I do like both. I don't know. I think what I think I'm probably gonna go for Beniel Dariush. I think I am.
I think
just because I want him to win.
When you say if they both go in chaotic, though, chaos is chaos. You know what I mean? That sounds like I'm just stating the same thing, but you can't have ordered chaos. I mean, you've seen that on the odd occasion with Tony Ferguson, I feel like, if they do go in both chaotic, then it could just be heads or tails. But I feel like Dariush going in against Ferguson is probably one of the bigger fights that he's had. I feel like
I'm going to say, and that's but when I say chaos, when I say kind of 5 by 5 and chaos, there is fighters that thrive within that. I feel like there's fighters that are comfortable within that, and not a lot of fighters are comfortable within that, and that's the thing. The way Beniel Dariush has been fighting recently has been a little bit chaotic, and I feel like if you try that approach with Tony Ferguson, you are in as well, mate. And I feel like if he does that, then Tony Ferguson just needs one mistake, and I think he's the perfect guy to kind of he'll probably catch him in a submission or something like that. I just think he's so good within that. I think Beniel Dariush needs to change the game plan. I don't think he should be like that, how he's been in his recent fights. I feel like he should try and be a little bit kind of more thought out, more game planning. That's my thoughts.
So, I mean, there's 3 more fights. We pushed on for an hour now. That are sort of picks. You got Hermanson, Shabazyan, Shane Burgos, Edson Barboza, Jacare Souza, and Muniz. So any of them really heighten your attention?
So I'll just give picks then if we're short on time. I'll say Jacare Souza. I'm going to say him because I don't know who the other guy is. I'll be honest. That Edmund Shavarian, who's he fighting? Sorry,
Hermanson, middleweight.
Oh, Alexander Hernandez, is it? No, Jack Manson.
Yeah.
Hermanson.
Hermanson. Hermanson's he's on a decent run. I'm shouting for him.
Jackerman's decent, to be fair.
I'm calling Jacare like you. I'm going for Hermanson. And I'm going to say Barboza over Burgos just because I like Barboza.
Shane Burgos is good, he's good.
I still,
what?
Just going with me fanboy on that. I just don't want to see him.
I love that. Yeah, I love that. You know what then? I'll match you then. We'll go Edson Barboza, Jacare Souza, 100%. Don't know who the other guy is. And I think like Jack Hermanson, I think that Edmund, he's good. He is good. And as that loss against Derek Brunson might have changed him. I don't know. He's not a bad fighter, but I feel like Jack's gonna kind of come out and have a good game plan, maybe wrestle with him a little bit, maybe. I don't know. I see him getting the decision on that one. Yeah.
And the only other one I want to mention is Mike Grundy's going to be on the card from Wigan, Cowboy. He's going to be fighting Venata, who again, like you, I've not seen Venata, but doesn't mean he's not going to be a hard fight.
He's good. If it's the guy that is it Lando Venata?
I'll put down Venata. I didn't see mate. I've not heard of him.
He is.
Is he ranked?
So do you remember? Yeah, I know he's not ranked, but you will have seen him, mate. Remember Tony Ferguson fought on short notice against this Lando Venata, where it was like fight of the night. It was unbelievable. Like both guys were dropping each other and everything. And then in the end, Tony Ferguson got him in a dart stroke. I think it was a dart stroke. Mate, Lando Venata, he's good. Been on a bit of a skid recently, though. I'm not gonna lie. So I do feel like Mike Grundy, if he does what he did against that Nad, I think he'll be all right. I think Mike Grundy's a really good fighter, to be honest, really good fighter. So I think he'll be fine on that one.
Yeah, I'm for Mike Grundy, mate, hometown and that, like so. Well, Wigan, Liverpool. But other than that, mate, same time next week. Oh, in fact, Tuesday next week. Tuesday next week,
Yeah.
because we're going to have Dave Faulkner off, the Ultimate Fighter, on. So, yeah, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, drop some comments. Let us know who you've got for your picks, any information on what you think about this whole situation with Sanchez. And, yeah, make sure you tune in next time, guys, hit the notification bell. Ashley, good knowing you, mate.
All the best. See you later.